How do I look, Max? I have no idea. It's been a long day. Alright, what's up guys? It's actually the next night. I forget where I left off the last video. I think that must have been the tail shaft. It was pretty late last night. I was going a little bit loopy. I don't think I even took any footage after I got it back in. I put it back in the car. There's been a couple of updates today. That's the reason that this update is quite late. It is dark again. I ended up cracking the shits with no one, just myself, about this intake situation. So I ended up making the decision to go get an APG forward facing off our mate Nick at All Performance Garage. He does excellent work, really nice fab work. I decided that if I'm going to go to the effort with this thing, I'm going to do it properly. So decided just to get a nice forward facing and be done with it. I've done a fair bit of planning out. I've pulled all of this wiring back out. I'm going to rerun that eventually. So I didn't get back from APG with the forward facing until very late this afternoon. It was 5 o'clock. So I haven't really, I've been pretty slack with filming. I apologize. But yeah, I got back and just sort of got stuck into it. Same with the tail shaft. I tend to get into a bit of tunnel vision where I get on a roll and I just sort of forget about the filming thing. I just like to smash out work because there's so much to do. You just get on a run and just want to keep going. So sort of the plan here, it's really going to look very tidy once I'm finished here. So I'm going to try and hide all of this wiring and reroute it sort of under the front bar here and around, everything up under the guard there. I've started making a list of fittings, lines, hoses, things like that to really clean this place up. The only problem I found with that about there is where the loom's going to have to go through the firewall. This loom for the Microtech is way too short to follow the original route through the guard and then through the firewall like the original loom does. It's a bit of a pain in the ass, but that's not too bad a spot. I just need to grommet and sort out how I'm going to get it through there. I had a look at where the loom runs, and obviously changing to the forward facing, I'm going to have to change the loom anyway because the original TPS sensor wiring is here. I've decided, I originally made that loom ages ago. I was going to put the coil in the guard. I've decided to just make a bracket and keep the new coil just in the standard location, so I'm going to have to change that too. I've also decided oil temp, oil pressure sensors, and just water temp and the other sort of sensors that this motor has. That's all this ugly wiring here that was just ran all over the joint. I'm actually going to run them in the engine loom and run them inside the car. That way all of the engine sensors, everything like that, it's all in one loom, keeps it nice and tidy. It all goes through just one place in the firewall. Looks a lot better and makes it way easier to do like fault finding or anything like that because it's all in the one spot. So I'm pretty happy with the engine bay layout that I'm going to take the motor out. I've got it actually at the point now where I'm literally about to rip it out and remembered that I should probably make a bit of an update on what I'm up to. So the motor's coming out. Tomorrow, going to go for a drive. We've picked out the paint color. We're going to go get some more paint and stuff like that. And yeah, we'll start, get the motor out, start refitting some things, drilling some holes while the motor's out and clean up the bay. All that sort of fun stuff that we can do without this silly RB that's right in the way of everything. So yeah, I'm really excited for how this bay, I've got the vision in my head of what this engine bay is going to look like when it's done, and I'm really excited to see it finished. I reckon it's just going to look so nice and so clean, and with the car all painted up, I reckon it's going to be one of the tidiest sort of R31s getting around. It's going to look tough as nails on these wheels. Yeah, I'm really excited. Just apologies for the shit filming and being pretty slack. Yeah, Max is a lot better at that than I am. but I'll do my best in his absence. So come home soon, Max. I actually do need your help. Alright, I'll get stuck back into it, get this motor out. I don't know if you can see in the time lapse, but that came out just worryingly easy. Pretty much as soon as I took the weight on the crane, it just popped out and just came out of the cup. Tell you what, if it goes back in even half as easy as that, I will be stoked. So that's her. Your girl's out, and you can see, as is pretty standard for this place, one of our biggest piss-offs is these goddamn hornet's nests. The little fuckers build them everywhere. And if you're not careful, they will try and build them inside motors as well, which is why we have to be super vigilant, is the word I'm looking for, with wrapping up motors and just any open holes in them that one of those hornets can get in. They will. So yeah, I'll strip the clutch off this and get it onto an engine stand, and we'll see where we're up to. So I pulled the clutch off and have encountered somewhat of a problem. That problem being, it is completely rooted. So it has got nothing left on it, and in fact it's actually worn that friction plate down to the steel outer. And here's the fun part, I'm 99% sure that groove is not supposed to be there. So I really didn't want to and can't really afford it, but I feel like I might have to bite the bullet and just put a new clutch in this thing. I'll just have to put a new clutch in it. Sad. Alright, so I done got the motor on the engine stand. It looks like an RB30 on an engine stand, oddly enough. So I was going to go to bed. It's about 10:15, but was sort of pushed for time on this one. I'm going to keep going with it, so I'm going to start stripping the motor. We've filmed this sort of quite a few times, but sort of got to film something, so I will time lapse it anyway, and I don't know, we'll see if we come across anything interesting, and I'll pull up the time lapse and we'll have a chat. But should be pretty standard pull down, really. Not much more to say about it. Enjoy the show. So just to quickly interrupt the time lapse, you would have seen in there, I dumped the oil out of it and I've stripped the turbo off it. So first thing I did, as I said at the beginning, this thing just had it's just the slightest sound, and to me it sounds like it could be a knock. If it was my car and I was gonna just track this thing, I would have just run it and see how it goes. But as I mentioned earlier, I'm doing this up currently to sell it, and I can't sell it I can't just sell it to someone as a ready to go sort of deal if I've got just the slightest suspicion that there could be something wrong with it. That's enough for me to go this far and pull it out, strip it down, and make sure it's all good. So the first thing that I've done, just to check, is I've actually run this magnet through the oil I've dumped out of it. I haven't cut open the filter yet. I will do that later, but you can see that magnet there has picked up absolutely nothing. So 0 metal out of the oil in the sump. That's a really good sign. In a way, it does mean that this exercise of pulling the motor out, rebuilding it, could end up being a waste of time, and the fact that it was unnecessary, but it will. I'm happy to do it just for my peace of mind, knowing that it is all good. So I'm going to go ahead with the pull down, but that is a good sign so far. It means that there can't be anything majorly wrong with it. Max and Dad haven't really listened to it. They can't hear anything wrong with it. I'm sure I can hear a noise in it. Like I said, it could just be being paranoid, and it's just me being a freak. But anyway, it is a good opportunity to completely redo the car how I originally wanted to do it, just for myself, and just to. It is a bit of a showcase. Like, I really do like this car and this 31, the shape of it. I think this car's going to look tough, and I'm really excited to finish it anyway, even if I am going to sell it and I can't enjoy it myself. Whoever does buy it, at least the build is all videoed, so they sort of know exactly what they're getting, and we will make sure that it's all good 100% before we try and sell it. So I'll continue on with stripping the motor. And yeah. Okay, it's around about midnight, just a little bit before. I've managed to get the motor down to rocker cover off and just pulled the sump off before. I was cursing old me. It actually took a lot of work to get the sump off. I didn't use a gasket last time. All I used was just some ultra black and quite a bit of it, I'll be honest. But yeah, it was stuck on like a mother flipper and took quite a bit of work to get it off. I did discover, I won't even bother showing you because you can't see it on camera, even though there was no metal in the oil when we dropped it before, where the sump plug actually comes out inside the sump, it does leave about 5 mil in the bottom of the sump, where the actual oil level is. And pulling the sump off and actually having a look in the sump, there is a significant amount of metal in the sump. So there's a problem somewhere. It's a bit reassuring in a way that, yeah, my suspicion was right, and it's got me curious now. I was going to go to bed, but I want to find out what's going on here, so I'll probably proceed a little bit longer. At least pull a couple of main caps off and have a look at the big ends and see if there's any issues there, because to me it's sort of what that knock sounded like was a start of a big end issue. Yeah, I haven't... When I did it last time, I didn't actually dismantle the head on this thing. This time we pull it off, I am actually going to completely dismantle it. We'll do the valves. I've got new lifters for it as well. The RB30s have been known, they get high Ks and stuff, they can get some sticky lifters, and they get a bit of a tick in them and stuff like that when they're cold until they warm up. So I figured I'd put new lifters in it. I haven't ordered any new bearings or anything like that. We'll have a look what's actually wrong with this thing as we pull them down, and I will work out exactly what needs to be ordered and what needs to be done. It is possible that metal that's in the sump could have come from the old oil cooler system. It's a bit of a long story. The last two motors that were in this car that did let go and spun bearings, we worked out that someone had plumbed the remote oil cooler and filter setup backwards, and it was an oversight on my part when I put it in last time that I probably didn't flush that system out as well as I could have. And it is possible that when I hooked it back up the right way, it's actually flushed metal that was in the oil cooler back into the oiling system. Not a mistake that I'm proud to admit to, but I will own up to it. So I'm not 100% sure yet what the deal is. We'll find out when we basically proceed to pull this thing down a little bit further, and we'll see how we go. But it's not looking too crash hot at the moment. But at the very least, we can say that whatever the issue is at this point, it hasn't caused any major problems. So whatever it is, we should have caught it early enough. Should be able to rectify it, new bearings, whatever we got to do, and get it sorted out, get it cleaned up, and after that it should be minto. Okay, so we ripped the head off, as you would have seen, and I'll try and get it on camera to see if you can, but the bores, hard to get on camera in this sort of light. I'll grab a bit of a torch here. You can still see the cross hatching in the bores. They are still fresh as a daisy. So guys, I've got the rods and pistons out of this motor. Have discovered something pretty interesting. The journals aren't too bad except for number 2, and it's hard to see in the light as usual. Number 2 big end is pretty rat shit. So it's got a lot of marks in it. They might polish out, but sort of need to pull the crank out and mic up that journal and work out if it's still round enough, or we might need a new crank. I'm not 100% sure yet, but you can see the bearings, number 1, and you can see that number 2 is absolutely toast. Like, it is completely wrecked. And they slowly get better and better as you get away from number 2. So number 2's got some pretty serious issues. Definitely needs new bearings. The question at this point is whether or not we can save this crank. So I don't know what we can get away with here. We do have a couple of spares. I'm not sure on their condition. I'd have to check with Max when I can get hold of him tomorrow, because it is around about 1 o'clock in the morning now. He's not going to be awake. Worst case, this crank might need a linish, maybe a grind. I'm hoping just a linish. Linish we could get away with. At the moment, it's just a time thing. It just costs time, this machine work. So if I've got another crank that I can use that's still in good enough nick, I would. I'm just not sure what we've got lying around. So yeah, we've definitely gotten to the bottom of it. There it is, guys. That's not even 1 day, that's actually 2 days. That was sort of split. There's not a lot of footage in it just because I spent so much time in and out of the place, but that's pretty much where we're at for now. Got this thing pretty much ready to be cleaned out, degreased, and start sorting it out, ready to be reborn, more or less. So that'll probably be this one video. And comment, smash like, smash subscribe, and we'll catch you on the next one, eh? Yeah, cheers guys.